Hello, this is the GED class. Welcome. Let's see, am I holding, oh, you know what? I'm holding that upside down. We'll start again with a laugh. This is the GED class. Welcome. It's so good to see you again. I hope your family is healthy. My family is healthy. I was feeling a little bit sick last week, but this week I'm feeling very healthy, so I am thankful with so many people very sick. Today we're going to talk about two words that are homophones. We say them the same, but they are spelled differently and they mean something different. So let's look at the board. Here are two words, counsel and counsel. How are they spelled differently? Counsel has a C-I right here. Counsel, this counsel has an S-E. So counsel, C-I-L, can be a noun or an adjective. In the noun form, it is a group of people. The council will meet and decide what to do. It's like a group that has meetings. And then it can be an adjective, something to do with the council. The council meeting is at 6, or all council members should come. So that is counsel, C-I-L. It can be a noun or an adjective, and it's a group of people or pertaining to that group of people. Then there is counsel, which is a noun, and it is advice. I had a problem, but he gave me good counsel, or he gave me good advice. Or it can be a verb, advise. The wise man counseled them how to solve their problem. Now, the interesting thing is, if you have a problem, you could take it to a council, and the council could give you good counsel. That's a little bit confusing, but I hope that you can look back at those words and understand better what they mean. Let's see, was there enough room there? Yeah, I want to make sure again, if you want to look at that board, that you can see the whole thing. I've also given you several websites you can go to learn more about these words. It's Grammarly.com, and I can't remember what the other one was. But if you look at past lessons, I have given you a couple of websites you can go to if you're unsure of the difference between words. Now we're going to go to our GED book. We're going to turn to pages 114 and 115. 114 and 115. Now, if you were viewed yesterday's class, I hope that you've gone ahead and read and done those two readings and answered the questions the best that you can. It is okay if you don't know the answer. It is good to guess sometimes and see how good of a guesser you are, because these are difficult. The ones yesterday weren't as difficult. These two readings were more difficult. So if you haven't already answered the questions, pause this video and go to page 114 and 115 in this GED book. Or if you have an older or a newer one, it might be 1 or 2 pages over, and do those two exercises. So I hope you're done now. Let's talk about those two selections. Page 114 is from a very famous story called The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. And the language is very old because the story is very old. So there may have been many, many words that you did not understand. So let's figure out how to answer these questions without learning 100 new words. Let's figure out if we can answer the questions. So let's look at number 8. What is meant by he endeavored to resume his psalm tune? Now there's two fairly common words there. Resume means to start again after you have stopped. So after the virus is past, next fall, I hope we will resume classes. That is to start again. And then psalm tune. Tune is a musical term, something to do with singing. So start again and singing. Let's look and see if any of the answers have to do with that. Remind himself to stay calm, ride more steadily, start singing again, think of a realistic solution. So it's 8C, start singing again. Whoops, that's in a spot that's hard to see. Let me move over and down a bit. 8C. Can you see that? Yeah, okay. Now let's look at the next one. What is the effect of the author's use of such words as dashed, stones flying, and sparks flashing? Now they did not give me the choice that I would have thought. I would have thought it was something about going very fast. So they didn't give me the answer I thought, so I have to look at the answers they gave me and see which is best. They gave me panic, clumsiness, playfulness, and magic. If someone dashes, it means they're going very fast. Doesn't mean anything about clumsiness or playfulness or magic. Stones flying, if someone is riding very fast over stones, the stones are going everywhere. They are flying, they are moving quickly. So again, nothing about clumsiness, playfulness, or magic. And sparks flashing. Sometimes when people are riding or doing something quickly over stones, they can spark, make little flashes of light. So all of these things point to speed or panic and not to clumsiness, playfulness, or magic. So 9A. Now number 10. Which of the following best describes the mood of this excerpt? Does this sound like a scary story? We have A, angry, B, sorrowful, C, suspenseful, D, sentimental. I would have put scary, probably, because this man is out at night and he encounters someone who appears to have no head and is carrying the head in their hands. That is very scary. But as we move along, first he is talking to this figure, then he is riding along, and then he realizes that he thinks the man has no head. So he starts going very, very fast. So that is suspenseful. He's not angry. He's not sorry. He's not sentimental. Suspenseful. Suspenseful means it's building up and getting more and more exciting. You want to know what's going to happen. So C, suspenseful for number 10. Number 11. Later in the story, the narrator implies that the horseman had a pumpkin on the pommel of his saddle. What is the pommel? I believe that's the handle, but I'm not even sure, and we don't need to know. It's something on the saddle. So before he thought it was, let's see, he was carrying his head on the pommel of the saddle. He didn't have a head on his body. He was carrying the head on the pommel of the saddle. Now that is scary. But this says that it turned out to be a pumpkin on the pommel of his saddle. So knowing that, knowing later on in this story, it doesn't tell us that here, but knowing further on in the story that we did not read that the man actually had a pumpkin, Ichabod can best be described as blank given his actions in the excerpt. Was he brave in the face of great danger? Was there anything brave he did? I don't think so. He was just running away as fast as he could on his horse. Too scared to think rationally? Now that could be. Let's save that one. C, moving too quickly. Well, at the beginning he was talking to the figure, so I don't think he was moving too quickly. It was only after he saw what he thought was the head that he started moving quickly. And D, quick thinking in his escape. I don't think he was really thinking. He was just going fast. So too scared to think rationally, B, is the clear answer to this question. Now let's look at the next story, excerpted from The Wedding of Henry Markowitz. I haven't read this story or this chapter. I don't know anything about it, but the language was a little challenging, wasn't it? It was an article about college students, university students. And so we are going to, I'm assuming you've already read it. If you haven't, pause, read it, answer the questions, and then we'll go on. Okay, number 12. Which of the following is Henry most interested in? Well, if we look down about, let's see, 2/3 of the way down, about this area here, it says, for Henry, reading had always been a gentle thing, a thing as delicate as blowing eggs. So reading is what he is interested in. The other students are looking for praise from the professors. They are talking about the literature in very difficult ways. Henry likes to read. Reading is a gentle thing. So 12B. What if you didn't know the answer? There really wasn't a lot here about teaching. Actually, you can only infer that he's a teacher. You don't really know if he's a teacher. Was he interested in students? Well, since he spoke badly about all the students, I don't think so. Was he interested in history? There's not much talk there of history. So if you do not pick up what he says about reading, you can still look at the other things and guess that those answers are wrong and assume that reading is correct. Number 13. Based on the passage, it is most likely that Henry would use the term or phrase blank to describe the younger college students. Well, if we look near the top, younger college students are undergraduates. That's a good term to know. People that do not yet have their first college degree are undergraduates. So what did he say about them? He said they were mass-produced. That means they just keep making lots and lots and lots of them. So mass-produced undergraduates would be making a lot of them, and a dime a dozen is an idiom, which means there's a lot of them. If you don't know that idiom, you could still look at the others. Has he said they are bright? That's another word for smart. Well, he doesn't seem to think any of the students are smart. Does he think they are open to new ideas? It says that they slump with their knees up and take in lectures as they might see movies. So they're just watching. They don't seem very engaged or insightful about literature. He doesn't seem to think anyone is insightful about literature. So C, a dime a dozen. If you're not familiar with that idiom, it is a common one and good to learn. A dime a dozen means very common. Very common. There are a lot of them. Number 14, when the author compares Shakespeare to a roast goose in the middle of the paragraph, what is she suggesting about the older students? Let's read that sentence. As for the old, it's a little bit past the middle of that reading. As for the older scholars, scholars are studious people, like students at a cooking school, they cook up Shakespeare, serve him up like roast goose, stuffed with their political sexual agendas, carve and quarter him with long knives. So knives is a clue there. What do you do with knives? You cut. And dissect is to cut something to look at the inside of it. So dissect literature too much and ruin the meaning is the answer. But let's look at the wrong answers and see why they are wrong, in case you did not know that word, dissect. Enjoy literature as they would a fine meal. His whole tone here is speaking negatively, so I don't think so. Throw Shakespeare back in Henry's face. No indication that they are doing that. To throw someone back in their face is to kind of argue with them using their points again against them. And then have trouble finding meaning in literature. They are the opposite of D. They find their own meaning, that what they want to find in literature. So A, dissect literature. 15, what is the tone of this excerpt? It's kind of subtle. It's not real obvious, but it is disapproving. He does not like the students. He does not think that they are sincerely wanting to learn. Upbeat would be very happy. Is this a happy article? I don't think so. Scholarly, that means he's talking about something in very wise, knowledgeable terms. Don't think so. Sentimental, he's talking about a sweet memory. Disapproving is the best choice. And D, and I see that I don't have the answer written down for D to put on the board for 16. But 16, later Henry refers to his brother as a shaper himself of the tawdry yellow thing they sell now as the humanities. Tawdry is very cheap and tacky. So if someone is wearing tawdry clothes, that means, oh, I don't like them. They're really not nice at all. They're tawdry. Or, so in bad taste, not a good thing. So he's disapproving. D. Disapproving. Okay. We've now finished the section on fiction and nonfiction. So I'm going to talk with our main GE teacher about where she thinks we should go next with our discussions. Just want to remind you that if you will send me a message over by phone, by text, by, what's it called? If you don't use your phone, but you use the messages. Anyway, any means that you want to send me a message, I would be very willing to conduct this class over Zoom for an hour a day if we can come up with a time, rather than doing these taped things, because then we could actually talk and I could hear your questions and answer them. So please contact me if that would be helpful. Have a great day, and I plan to continue posting one of these lessons a week, unless two of these lessons a week, unless we move to Zoom classes. Have a good day.